Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wish you could, really get some of that deep ancient wisdom? Stuff that still echoes today.
Yeah, insights that can genuinely shift how you see things.
Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into Matthew chapter 5.
The Sermon on the Mount.
Exactly. Some really powerful, maybe even radical teachings in there. Stuff that challenges how we usually think.
For sure. And just so you know where we're coming from, our main text is the New International Version, the NIV of Matthew 5.
Okay.
And we've also looked at the Bible Social video commentary series on YouTube.
Yeah.
It helps frame the text, reiterates it in a pretty accessible way.
Good context.
Right. So our mission today, it's really to pull out the key insights, the most important nuggets from this text, kind of a shortcut to understanding its core message.
And its implications, right, because they're pretty surprising for how we live our lives.
Definitely surprising.
Okay, let's picture this. Jesus sees these huge crowds. He heads up a mountainside, sits down, his disciples gather. You can feel the significance, can't you?
Yeah, it's like, okay, something important is about to happen.
And he starts with what we call the Beatitudes. That's Matthew 5, verses 3 to 12. And every single one starts with blessed. But listen to the first few. They're totally counterintuitive, aren't they? Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Right, now what you'd expect.
And blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Then blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. It's unexpected.
It really is. And what's fascinating, I think, is how these blessings just completely redefine success or, happiness as we normally think of it.
How so?
Well, they don't focus on, like, external stuff, money, power, status. It's all about internal states. Humility.
So being poor in spirit, that vulnerability.
Exactly. That becomes the gateway to the kingdom. Sorrow leads to comfort. Meekness leads to inheriting the earth. It just flips conventional wisdom on its head.
Wow, a total redefinition. And it keeps going with this focus on righteousness, on peace. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled.
That desire for what's right.
Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. That makes sense. Then, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God.
A deep internal purity.
And this one feels so relevant. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God.
Yeah. And notice, these aren't passive qualities, are they? It's not just about feeling meek or sad. It's an invitation to positive action, like being merciful, being a peacemaker.
Right.
And it points to a deeper connection, a divine connection. It really makes you ask, okay, what kind of person, what kind of character is being held up here?
And he knows this path isn't easy. He even addresses persecution directly. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness.
Yeah, for doing the right thing.
For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And then he makes it super personal. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me.
Wow.
And the instruction is incredible. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. Find joy even when facing opposition for the right reasons.
That's tough, but powerful.
So he sets this internal compass first, redefining blessed. But then he immediately asks, okay, what's the point of this interchange? What's the purpose?
Right. Not just for you.
Exactly. It's to be salt and light in the world. That's verses 13 to 16. He says, you are the salt of the earth.
Okay, salt. What did that mean then?
Well, it was vital, right? For preserving food, adding flavor. But then he hits them with a warning. If the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again?
Uh-oh.
It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. Pretty stark image.
Yeah, it is. So it's not just about being salt, but remaining salty. It's about effectiveness, isn't it? Purpose.
Definitely.
What does it mean for you to keep your saltiness, your distinct positive influence in the world? Otherwise, you're ineffective, trampled. It's a challenge.
And then the next metaphor. You are the light of the world, he says. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. You immediately picture that visibility.
Right. Light is meant to be seen.
And he uses the lamp analogy. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Makes no sense, right?
No, totally pointless.
Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. And the purpose. Crystal clear. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven.
See, that's crucial. It's a call to active, visible goodness. Don't hide it. But, and this is the key part, it's not for your glory. It's so others see the good deeds and connect them back to God. It's about positive impact, lighting the way, but pointing beyond yourself.
Okay, so inner character leads to outward positive influence. That brings us to a really important, maybe sometimes confusing statement about the law. Verses 17 to 20, Jesus says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets."
Okay, so he's not throwing it all out.
No. He says, "I've not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." And that word, fulfill, what does that actually mean here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because fulfill here doesn't mean abolish. It doesn't mean replace. It's more like bringing it to its intended completion.
Ah, okay, like finishing it.
Yeah, or showing its deeper meaning. Think of it like the foundation of a building is the law, and he's come to build the structure it was always meant to support. He's revealing the full intent.
Got it. And he stresses how permanent the law is. Until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished.
Wow, so it endures.
Absolutely. And he says practicing and teaching these commands is vital. If you set them aside, you'll be least in the kingdom. If you practice and teach them, you'll be great.
So respecting the foundation is still critical.
Yes, but then comes this incredibly high standard. He says, "For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven."
Okay, hold on. The Pharisees, weren't they like the super religious ones, the experts in the law?
Exactly. They were known for being incredibly strict, meticulous about following the letter of the law, outwardly very pious.
So to say your righteousness has to surpass theirs, that's a
Yeah.
huge challenge.
It is. It means true righteousness must be something more than just following rules perfectly on the outside.
It has to go deeper. An internal thing? Integrity of character, maybe.
That seems to be exactly where he goes next. He starts unpacking what this surpassing righteousness actually looks like, and he uses this pattern. "You have heard that it was said," quoting the traditional understanding.
But I tell you. And then he raises the bar radically.
Precisely. Let's start with murder. Verses 21-26, the old law, "You shall not murder." Pretty straightforward.
Right. Don't kill people. Got it.
"But I tell you," Jesus says, "that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment."
Wow. Just being angry.
Just being angry. And he gets more specific. If you call someone roka, which was like a really nasty Aramaic insult, basically calling them worthless, you're answerable to the court. And if you say, "You fool," you're in danger of hellfire.
So the words, the contempt, it's on the same level.
It seems so. He even says if you're at the altar about to offer a gift and you suddenly remember someone has something against you, leave the gift.
Leave it.
Yeah. Go sort it out first. Be reconciled, then come back and offer your gift. He even says settle things quickly with your adversary.
So he's digging way deeper than the act of murder itself. He's going for the root.
Exactly.
The anger, the contempt, the broken relationships. The internal state of the heart is what's critical. Deal with the source before it escalates. That's a much higher standard.
And he applies the same go-to-the-root principle to adultery. Verses 27-30. The law says, "You shall not commit adultery." Clear. But I tell you, Jesus says, that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart.
Whoa. So the thought, the desire itself.
Is treated as the act, internally. Again, the focus is on the origin of the action in the heart and mind, and then comes that really shocking imagery.
Oh yeah, the eye and the hand.
If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out. If your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off. He says it's better to lose one part than for your whole body to go to hell.
It's obviously metaphorical, right? But the intensity.
It's extreme. It shows you should take radical steps to deal with the sources of sin in your life, the things that cause you to stumble morally.
And this focus on the internal, the heart's intent, carries on into the teaching on divorce, doesn't it? Verses 31-32.
It does. The law allowed divorce with a certificate.
Kind of a legal procedure.
Right. But I tell you, Jesus says, that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, makes her the victim of adultery, and anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery.
That's much stricter. What's the focus there?
It seems to be about protecting the vulnerable party, often the wife in that society, and really upholding the sacredness of the marriage commitment itself, going beyond just the legal allowance to the deeper spirit.
Okay. So heart, actions, relationships. What's next?
Oaths. Verses 33-37. The tradition was, "Do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made." Sounds pretty sensible.
Yeah, keep your promises, especially the important ones.
But I tell you, do not swear an oath at all.
Not at all.
Nope. Not by heaven, not by earth, not by Jerusalem, not even by your own head. He says all you need to say is simply yes or no.
Just.
Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. So what's that about? Why no oaths?
It's a call for absolute radical integrity, isn't it? Your basic word, your simple yes or no, should be so reliable, so truthful, that you don't need an oath to back it up.
Ah, so the oath becomes unnecessary if you're truly trustworthy.
Exactly. Anything more suggests your simple word isn't enough, which implies a lack of integrity somewhere. And he keeps flipping expectations with the next bit. Eye for eye versus 38-32.
The old principle of justice, eye for eye and tooth for tooth, retribution, tit for tat.
Seems fair on the surface. An eye for an eye.
But I tell you, Jesus counters, do not resist an evil person.
Don't resist. What does that look like?
He gives examples. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other cheek also. If someone sues you for your shirt, give them your coat too.
Wow. Go the extra mile, literally.
Right. If someone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. And give to the one who asks you. Don't turn away from someone wanting to borrow.
Okay. That's not passive acceptance of evil, is it? It feels different.
How so?
It's like a proactive, radical generosity and non-retaliation. It completely breaks the cycle of revenge. What kind of power is in that?
It's a different kind of power, isn't it? Not fighting fire with fire.
Exactly. It flips the script on justice. Imagine if people actually did that, turning the other cheek, giving extra. It could genuinely transform conflict, couldn't it? Break the whole cycle.
It's profound, and all this builds towards what might be the most radical teaching in the whole chapter, the absolute peak of the but I tell you section.
Okay, what is it?
Love for enemies. Verses 43-48. He starts with the common idea. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy.
Which sounds, well, pretty normal, even today. Look after your own, be wary of outsiders or opponents.
But I tell you, Jesus commands, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you.
Love your enemies. Pray for persecutors. That's asking a lot.
It is, and he gives the reason. That you may be children of your Father in heaven. Why? Because God causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous.
Ah, so God's love and provision aren't conditional. They're universal.
Exactly. And he pushes the challenge. If you only love those who love you back, what's so special about that? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? Tax collectors were despised then.
Right. Even the bad guys love their own friends.
And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? It's a call to go beyond basic human reciprocity.
So the standard is God's own universal unconditional love. That's the model we're supposed to follow.
That seems to be it. This is the ultimate surpassing righteousness, moving beyond just us versus them.
It challenges tribalism, self-interest, everything, really. And then he hits you with the final line of this section.
The ultimate call. Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect.
Wow. Perfect.
Success.
Yeah, an unbelievably high standard.
What a journey through this chapter. We went from the Beatitudes, those foundational blessings,
Defining what matters.
through being salt and light, having a purpose.
An outward impact.
And then deep into these but I tell you teachings, demanding this profound internal change that fulfills, not abolishes, the law's spirit.
Yeah, it's clear it wasn't about throwing out the rules, but about internalizing the core principles to an extraordinary degree.
Yeah.
Honesty, purity of heart, reconciliation, non-retaliation.
Love.
And radical love. This deep dive really shows a call to a completely different way of living, doesn't it? Focused on that inner character, yes, but also on extreme generosity and this challenging unconditional love, even for enemies. It's about aligning yourself with that divine standard of perfection he mentioned. Not just in actions, but like in your deepest intentions.
So as we wrap up, here's something for you, the listener, to chew on, reflecting on all this. Which of these teachings feels like the biggest stretch for you personally?
Good question.
Is it controlling that flash of anger? Is it the radical integrity of just yes or no? Is it turning the other cheek? Or maybe the hardest of all, genuinely loving and praying for those you consider enemies?
Yeah, what would it actually look like for you to start living out even a piece of this surpassing righteousness in your day-to-day life?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.